Welcome and thank you for joining us today. This is the Indiana SBDC Small Business Resiliency and Recovery Training Series. This has been held every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern, and we're planning on continuing this series in the new year. My name is Patty Newby. I'm a project manager at Generator. Generator is a startup accelerator based out of the Midwest. We have quite a few offices in Indiana. We mainly focus on working with startup founders and artists and musicians, but during the pandemic, we decided to start really outreaching our services to small business owners and entrepreneurs of many different types. Today's topic is COVID-19 response funding. We are super lucky to have our speaker here today. We have Patrick Burke, who is the co-founder and CEO of BoxScore. So without further ado, I will stop sharing my screen and then I'll pass it on over to you, Patrick.
Great. Patty, thank you for the chance to be here. So actually, the topic that I thought when I was talking with Jeff, we were going to talk about actually is how to use customer feedback and engagement to grow sales.
Oh, Patrick, that's on me. I think I read the wrong title, so apologies on my end.
No worries. Just want to make sure I hadn't missed something. Yeah, so my name is Patrick Burke. I am a co-founder of BoxScore. Prior to BoxScore, I worked at Duke Energy for about 10 years and went to Taylor University for the Indiana people out here. I did my MBA at Butler University. Man, I'm really excited to be here. I love small businesses. I feel like small businesses are truly just the backbone of our country. So thank you guys for what you do. I'm glad to be a small business ourselves. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about customer feedback and how we help our customers kind of drive sales through feedback. But more than anything, we really feel very passionate that capturing meaningful feedback is important for every business. So whether it's through us or just in general, just want to kind of make a few comments. And honestly, more than anything, just offer some reminders. Like none of this is rocket science, but we really feel like is an important part of success for businesses. So we do believe that there really is a problem in the business world today. That feedback is just an extremely quality feedback is a very rare thing inside organizations, and that many times even what people are saying when giving feedback can be lost in so many metrics and data and analysis. And that being in this period of kind of change and transformation that every business is experiencing, whether that's internal or external, that feedback really can be an important change management tool, can help navigate a new environment, but then also more importantly, keep everyone engaged. So whether that's customers or employees, and communicating that feedback really drives continual engagement, which is why we started BoxScore. So our mission here really is that we believe every person brings unique gifts and abilities to the workplace, and that healthy feedback can be that catalyst for helping people achieve their full potential, and that ultimately organizations are a sum of their people, and that feedback drives engagement and overall performance, and that engaged employees ultimately create a great customer experience as well. And so marrying those three things together is kind of why we started BoxScore. We started in October of 2016. We're an Indiana-based business, kind of a small sampling of some of the customers that we work with. Heavy Indiana focus, but work across the country and have a handful of international customers as well. So I think part of the reason why we're here today is just to talk about this is just an absolute time of disruption, change. I mean, I don't know that many of us have lived through a period of time quite like this. When I started thinking about how to describe 2020, I don't know if we have any Billy Joel fans out there, but that "We Didn't Start the Fire" song popped into my head. So I'm not going to sing for you, but just the fear, insecurity, childcare, all these things that weren't necessarily on our radar as it relates to how we run an organization, have popped up and have become just an incredible force for distraction. And I think ultimately what the impact that we've seen for our customers and across the board really is just that it's so easy to lose sight of the customer. I think that's the case even in traditional times, but especially today when there are so many new factors and things to consider. So our focus and our goal is really to help our customers be customer centric for their own businesses. I think that there's this notion that when you see some of these companies like Netflix and Amazon and Uber that they had some extraordinary technological innovation that enabled them to kind of beat the incumbent, which I think is true to some extent, but really and truly, I think what happened was they did a better job of being focused on their customer. Um, so it wasn't just the ability to stream movies, but it was making the interface easier. It was being more focused on what the customer really wants as it relates to that interaction. And Southwest Airlines and their just relentless focus on investing in things that drive the customer experience as opposed to their own business focuses from an operations standpoint. So that's what we want to try to do is help our businesses or our customers really understand what drives their business, why their customers are engaged, and keep the focus on that. We think really are four keys to doing that. The first is pretty obvious of just having a valuable product or service. So I think everybody on this call, I'm sure, check the box on number one, or you wouldn't be in business. The second is really to provide that great customer experience. So to be easy to do business with, delight customers, and just make things enjoyable and easy for them. The third is to engage your own organization. We really believe that without an engaged workforce, customers won't experience that high level of engagement and experience. And then the fourth piece is to make sure that there's a simple and repeatable feedback loop in place to measure and evaluate numbers 1 through 3. So ensure that the offering really is, as things change, the market changes, and customer needs change, really is valuable, is what people want. The experience is solid, and then sharing that feedback on the back end to engage your organization. And so ultimately, what we think really is the kind of the magic of customer engagement, and really it's kind of our box score differentiation is kind of comparing these two types of feedback. So we have summative and formative feedback. So summative feedback is essentially kind of like that "how'd we do" question. So after there's an interaction or after some period of time passes, to check in, to get feedback, and kind of a snapshot at the end. Where we really believe that formative feedback is what really drives engagement. And so by formative feedback, we mean feedback that leads to small adjustments along the way that can ensure that at the end of a customer relationship or an engagement or a transaction, that all the steps along the way were positive, and that you can make small adjustments along the way that can ensure that at the end that engagement is successful. So kind of an example outside of the business realm that I think captures this is in higher education. So we are working with a number of universities right now to help kind of create that formative feedback during a semester. So if you think about the kind of the course evaluation, that's your summative piece of feedback, where at the end of the semester, hey, how'd the class go? What feedback do you have for us? Whereas we're working right now on a formative side, where at the end of each week, professors are asking for feedback that enables them to shape that class to the specific group of students that are engaged for the semester, make it more of a custom and tailored valuable thing to that group, and do that along the way as opposed to waiting for the end of the semester. So it's just kind of one example of formative feedback. And we think this is, going to be increasingly true, just as we navigate these uncertain times, which I hate saying that. But customers are kind of feeling out service providers. Everybody's trying to kind of get a lay of the land in regards to where things are from a safety standpoint, from a process standpoint. And so the more formative this feedback can be will enable organizations and businesses to create positive experiences for customers and keep them engaged. So we think about 3 things as it relates to formative feedback. So kind of the right time, the right questions, and the right actions. So from the right time standpoint is not waiting until the very end, but getting feedback along the way, across the journey the customer kind of navigates with a business. Have it be consistent, but well timed. So not, 48 hours after something happened, but really as real time as possible. Asking the right questions. So if we are going to kind of be a proponent of formative feedback, more frequent check-ins, it has to be really simple. It has to be short and concise, which means that you have to frame things up the correct way so that you're asking the right questions to get the feedback that you need, and then the right actions. So that would be, um, really following up with the customer if appropriate, doing so quickly, and then communicating that back to your organization. So really that third piece is crucial. So, I mean, there's nothing worse you can do than ask for feedback and do nothing with it. But essentially want to make sure that we follow up appropriately. Um, there's tons of research that shows how quickly you respond to a customer that really will impact the retention rate of that customer, and then also the lifetime value of that customer. So when we say formative feedback, that's really what we think about, and how we think about kind of feedback, customer feedback as a whole is, I mean, it really relates back to the humanity of businesses and organizations and people working together. Kind of these three things. I mean, we all make mistakes, right? We've made them. We've been on the receiving end of them. Um, for the most part, the overwhelming majority of people are forgiving if given the opportunity. And it's interesting. We actually really have seen that even a mess up for an organization can actually improve and benefit that overall customer relationship. Just the trust that it builds in fixing an issue before customer gets really upset about it. And then thirdly, we like to be asked our opinion. It makes us feel valued, but we think the most important thing is to value that opinion. So to ask a 30 question survey doesn't necessarily value that customer's time or opinion. Um, and then, having it lead to unactionable or, specific to their situation, feedback is not valuable to them as well. So at a high level, that's really kind of how we think about things. Again, feeling like the key to customer engagement really is that formative piece. I'm going to take just a couple minutes and talk a little bit about how we do this, but we'd love to have this kind of be short and sweet and be more conversation driven than anything. So box score. So I mentioned we started in 2016. So we help our customers keep the pulse of their own customers, capture that formative feedback across kind of the whole customer journey, drive, gauge, measure the drivers of engagement and satisfaction, and then ultimately really creating that culture of feedback. That's what we want to do. Is not capture more information, data analysis, but make it formative, make it actionable, and create a culture of feedback inside our customers. We look at things from two perspectives. We ask two kind of quantitative questions, if you will, one to five or 1 to 10. The first being around the results of that interaction. The second being focused on the experience. So you can think about it, a hard skill, soft skill, or results experience. And then there's an optional comment box that goes with it that can provide a little bit of color to that piece of feedback. So ultimately, we really feel like if businesses know these two things, if they know first, like, are they achieving the objective or the goal that they have for their company that their customers are expecting, and secondly, their customers are having a good experience, that's really enough to run an organization. We don't need a whole lot more than that if that's something that's measured consistently, well, and then responded upon close to real time. So we help our customers kind of set up their own team where each individual employee has a profile, can set up management kind of roll ups so that you could look in the data by manager or by department, however you would want to do that. And then again, these two questions. So it's all tailored to that specific customer interaction. So this Lee Rojas would be the employee that was provided service. The email or the text message that could go out would have that customer's name in it, make it specific to their situation. The business logo here. So just trying to make it more of a kind of a specific, hey, not just to tell me what you think about my company, but you just had this interaction. Tell us how it went. And then these two questions, this 1 to 5, 1 to 10 scale around kind of results, experience, and then a question that can be overlaid in the comment box. So a lot of our customers will ask about how this could be a better experience or what's something this employee did well. And so they can drive to a specific learning from that piece of feedback. And then this is kind of the box score here, this 2x2 matrix, where obviously you want to be in this top right quadrant here. So if you're a business owner or a manager, you log into your box score account, you can see all the pieces of feedback for your organization. The size of the circle represents the number of times that piece of feedback exists. So you can see you get lots of 10 out of 10s. And then filter down by scoree. So this is the individual employee that would be receiving feedback, the organization, kind of the customer organization. So if you have, a lot of our customers will have certain businesses that are 10, 15% of their revenue stream. So they want to make sure that every interaction they have with them is positive. They can slice that out, filter by date range. Then we have other reports and data is exportable, things like that. But essentially this box score is kind of what we drive towards, is this pulse of what's happening. And so I mentioned, customer feedback. We really feel like feedback, like I talked about earlier, drives the overall success of the business. So we help customer feedback. We have customers that measure their internal support functions. So essentially, how well HR, IT, things like that support the frontline employees. We do a lot of kind of employee engagement and satisfaction work, and then employee onboarding and experiences. It's been interesting in COVID. The businesses that are hiring, it is harder to get people plugged into an organization and ensure they feel connected, really understand the mission and the purpose of the company. So we've had a number of our customers that have been just checking in more frequently with these new hires as they ramp up. So to help them kind of have a better experience. So I promise to keep it short and sweet. That really is kind of our slice on how to drive engagement and sales through customer feedback. If you want to try it real quick, if you put your phone over that QR code, it'll open up a screen that can give me feedback on how I did. Right, we're a real-time feedback business, so we want to make sure that we're talking or walking our talk. But would love to, if there's any questions or anything that we'd like to be more clear or specific, would love to chat about that. But it's the Friday before Christmas too, so wanted to just keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patrick. This is super helpful. For any attendees, you're more than welcome to use the Q&A box below. We did have a couple questions emailed in, so let me pull that up. Okay, first question is, I work in secondary insurance, so a lot of my customers aren't very happy to be buying my product. Any advice on helping disgruntled customers to have a better experience?
So my internet cut out in the very beginning. I heard insurance and then something about disgruntled customers. But I'm sorry to ask you that, but can you just read it one more time? Sorry.
Totally. The question is, I work in secondary insurance, so a lot of my customers aren't very happy to be buying my product. Mm-hmm. Any advice on helping disgruntled customers to have a better experience?
Yeah, I think the first piece of advice I would have is really just to ensure that you're clear on why they are disgruntled. And if there's a way to improve some sort of process or something in the business. I understand that sometimes there's not in that situation. But I think just even taking that feedback back to the other partners that you're working with, say, hey, listen, we're hearing this from the market. Here's some things that, if you want us to be successful, we need you to make some tweaks and changes so that at the end of the day, the customers are happy and stick with both of us. That would be my 2 cents. That's a great question.
Totally. Cool. And then second question is, I'm having so many troubles communicating with my customers. I sell computer parts on Amazon. People don't write reviews. So I think the question would be something along the lines of like, what are some better ways of like communicating with customers if you don't always have direct contact with them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So some of our customers, so we work with one that is, a well-timed business that is selling masks to higher ed, or I'm sorry, not higher ed, but lower ed, K through 12 systems. school systems, where, they don't really necessarily have access to the people who are wearing the masks, but they've just been creating a little kind of a business card with a QR code, something honestly similar to this here, that's in the box. That if there is a problem, it's a way for them to reach out to their customer without having to have an email address, or not really reach out, but it's a way that a customer can give feedback to them without having a email address or a phone number to leverage. So it's just kind of getting that in front of them, giving them the opportunity to give feedback. Um, you know, there's discussion about reviews. It's interesting. We've seen, one of the benefits of box score is, customer reviews are great and they are important, and totally get why that's a marketing strategy. But using box score, you can kind of have that same interaction where you get that review, but you're actually the only one that sees it. So if there is a disgruntled customer, it's not on the internet for all to see. And then on the back end, we're able to kind of link into Google, Facebook, some of the other places, and use that as a positive review. So if you get, 5 out of 5 or a 10 out of 10, it'll say, hey, can we use this as something on our social page or review page. But it kind of weeds out some of the negative ones too. So that's kind of two different thoughts to that. But it is, it's challenging to get in front of a customer if you don't have a way to access that. But that's part of it's been interesting to see QR codes come back again. They were kind of old and dead, and with the new phones that come out with the cameras where you just use the camera to pop that code on, it's been beneficial for us to be able to get in front of the customers that we didn't necessarily have access to previously.
Totally. Cool. So I think those are all the questions that came in. Just want to say thank you so much, Patrick. We really, really appreciate you joining today. If anyone has any different questions about the Indiana SBDC or any different resources available, you can visit stayinbizbiz.org for all of the ISBDC resources there. We will be providing updates on when our next, small business webinar is going to be after the holidays. We are still working on getting the schedule set, so we will keep people in the loop. But in the meantime, I hope everyone has a super healthy and safe and happy holidays. And I just want to give you another big thank you again, Patrick.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Patty. It's great being here.
All right, have a good
Merry
one.
Christmas.
Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas. Bye.